All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good night, good evening, good whatever time is, whatever you are when you get this video. All right. So we are continuing. This is class 11. And let's do a brief recap. So in our last class, we finished reading Exodus chapter 23. And we've made it now to verse 27. So now in the last video, I made a claim, right?
Okay.
And, the claim was that I'm the one who is supposed to help, teach, and restore the chosen people back to their land. Now, that's pretty outlandish.
No.
No, it has to be outrageous because they don't have any proof. They don't have any evidence. They don't know me, right? So you've kind of seen me over some time.
Yes.
Right? And others who've seen me over some time. And there's many that do know, right? But they don't know. So what we have to do is we have to buy land.
Yes.
And for those who are joining with us to buy land and to come and to learn, this is a monumentous event. You can't do it everywhere. I mean, you can, but it's ineffective.
Right. It will not work.
It doesn't work because they want to build on the same system and you have to have a different system.
Yes.
And so while we're buying land and building houses and trying to receive our people, it's going to take a phenomenal investment, but it doesn't require phenomenal wealth. It actually is it's a small amount from many or a large amount from few.
Right.
So it's going to boil down to what it's going to boil down to anyway. Right? And for people to kind of understand the progression and what makes us different, there's something that makes us lost.
Yes, it is.
Okay? So now we need to define what makes you a lost people. Because knowing that you're the children of Israel, that's not hard to deduce. There's one nation of people that was made slaves throughout the world and scattered all over the world and unable to get back and held for a long period of time. Only one. And that one group of people is missing, and they're missing. It says in the Bible that they're the children of Israel, the children of Jacob, right?
Yes.
So now that you're talking about these people, and you're finally kind of waking up to who you are, and you kind of see that some of the people who you thought were being weird, strange, outlandish, or making these weird conspiracy claims, you're starting to learn that they're kind of true. So we need to define what makes us lost.
Right.
So you can see the difference between what we teach here, what we're doing and what we're implementing, and why it's nowhere else in the world. And I said this with my sister here this morning, and she read it for herself. So what are the 6 things that make us a lost people?
Well, what makes us lost is first the Torah and Covenant.
So you have to first become aware of the Torah, a detailed instruction. Okay? Not an abbreviated, not a confused, not a confuzzled. This Torah and instruction comes together because you have to agree to the terms. So you have to agree to the terms of the covenant, and you have to agree to the law of the Torah and submit and surrender to it.
Yes.
Now, if you don't submit or surrender to the law and the covenant, forget about it. We don't need you. We don't want you. Right? You're not holy. You're not righteous. You're just a rebel. Period. This doesn't change. It doesn't matter. Okay? Because if you accept the instructions, you have to accept what to do, when to do it, and how it is to be executed.
Yes.
That's a complete instruction,
Yes, it
right?
is.
That even if you don't understand why you're doing it, if you don't understand why you're doing it, you learn in the process.
Correct.
So now, if you don't have the Torah and instruction in detailed manuscript, you can't get past this step, and you can't become anything. You're lost.
Yes.
Okay? What is the next step?
Forgotten commandment.
So the next problem is you've forgotten the commandment. So not only do you not know the Torah and you don't know your covenant, now you've forgotten the commandment. And the commandment is, in the day you hear the law and the covenant, you are to obey it. One commandment, one doctrine, which means obey all of the instructions.
Yes.
So there's only one commandment. I don't know where people found 10, but there's only one. Right. All that I command thee, you will hear, right, and do. So knowledge isn't power.
Yes.
Power is the ability to do.
Yes.
Knowledge is just receiving the instruction of what to do. What to do, when, how to execute. Right? Why you're doing it will be made known at a later time. Okay? What's the third thing?
Covenant.
So now that you know about the covenant and you swear and agree to it and you begin the process of obeying, now you can enter into the covenant and begin to keep all of the covenants, because there's more than one.
Yes, there is.
You see? So every time the Most High is issuing covenants to different houses and people at different times, for different reasons, for different fulfillments of different jobs, making them specialists in different areas, these covenants have to be kept. So now if your teacher doesn't know that, is not doing that, right? He's just teaching, he's just reading, right, from some book from somewhere, and the book doesn't even validate him because he has nothing and is doing nothing of what the book says.
Correct.
Right? So if you do the first 3 steps in order and you start fulfilling these covenants, you get to step 4. What's step 4?
Feasts and months.
The step 4 is now you start knowing when the feast days are, when the months are, when the years are, what year it is. Like it's the year 5,957, and you guys have no idea of what that is, right? It's 5,957 years from Adam. And I don't care what any other nation's experts have to say about it. This is the count of my father's house. I don't care about yours. No disrespect to what you claim, and whatever you claim for your people, that's fine. I'm only have to count from Adam. You can count from whatever. All right? As from my count, this my claim, this my family, this my law, this is what it says, and this is where we are. Okay? So now from 5,957, we're going to move forward. And I know nobody has the count, but at least we have the count here. Okay?
Yes, we do.
For those who actually come out to participate, they get to see how the count works, right? Where are we counting from? When the months are, so that we can begin to keep new moon feasts and the Shabbats and the festival days. But this begins on a festival. So first, we have to come together and prepare to keep a festival. Once we keep the festival, from that point on, we are to continuously keep what is necessary for every day. You see, so when people invest in the community, right, the community generates for the community. So you don't need money to buy clothes.
Correct.
If you're growing cabbages, you know you can buy clothes with cabbages.
In the right community.
In the right community.
Yes.
And everybody doesn't have to show up with everything.
Right.
Each one gives according to what he is abundant in.
Right.
So if you got cabbages, you can get lamb and still make your offering. Because
Right.
with lamb, you just get paid for it in cabbages.
Right.
You can pay your clothes. You can supply all of your needs because what you are responsible for in the community provides all of your wealth.
So is this similar to what we know as the bartering system, or is it a little different?
It's a lot different,
Okay.
right? Because the community as a whole, right? It's not it's yes, you're responsible for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is the wealth you're generating. And we do have an equal trade. However, we do have an economy for money, but the money we use for outside the community.
Right.
So we have to buy land from outside the community.
Mm-hmm.
Inside the community, the land is divided out, and amongst us, nothing has a cost except for when we are dealing in marriages.
Mm.
So when I'm dealing with marriages and who's taking responsibility of persons, there is a exchange.
Yes.
But anything else, we have a common system. You don't have lack. This way, there's no poverty in the community. It's not a communist system.
Mm-hmm.
It's not capitalist either.
Okay.
So now this system you have not yet seen because you have not yet participated in it to get the understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we have money, but we have what money is used for.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have things and we are making exchange, but it's not a bartering system. So we do have fixed weights of measurement. Things are dispersed, but you are not buying your food because you help contribute to the food of the community. You have a right to feed your family equally.
Understand.
Right? Since everybody is living in beauty, right? And luxury
Yes.
and opulence, everybody communally, nobody is greater or less than.
No respect of person.
There's no respect of persons. You have a 3-bedroom because you have XYZ children. Right?
Right.
Even a single man with one wife have 2-bedroom minimum.
Yes.
Why? Because he have to have space for expansion for children.
Right.
Okay? So it's not about the cost. Everyone is given according to what he or she needs. And we are constantly expanding. And you're not staying in an apartment for long.
Right.
See, we got 2 years before we have to begin to develop the state. Okay? So we only got 2 years of development until we start developing the administration, and then we begin building the state project. Okay? And we have the cooperation of other countries as well to create satellites of this program. You see? The other nations that are helping us and that are looking to establish this, they also abide by our law of customs and traditions, not our law, the book. So because we share the same customs and traditions, although ours is stricter, I'm not going to tell you, our law is stricter. So don't go to them and expect them to know our law. They don't.
Right.
Our law is stricter, right? And if you look to these other people and say, well, this is what they're doing, well, you need to go with them. And that's fine, right? But don't bring that over here. We're not adapting that. We have it already.
Right.
This is all figured out. So now that we've gotten the festivals and the months, then we can go on and keep the next step. Because once we start with the first festival, after that, we have to have what we need for every day, all of the offerings that are required, right? Because the offerings is because one of our brothers does not have a land possession at all. He just lives among us. He doesn't have a state. Okay? So he has to eat every day, and he has his responsibilities to the community at large. So what's the next one?
Shabbats and Jubilees.
So Shabbats and Jubilees. So now here is a caveat. You need both of these, because once you start keeping the Shabbats, then you start understanding the Shabbat of the years.
Right.
7, and then in the 49th year, a Jubilee occurs. And that year of Jubilee is part of the count.
Yes.
So now you have to start getting past these hurdles. Because once you start keeping the Shabbats, then you can prepare yourself for the Jubilees. So you keep the weekly Shabbats and you keep the yearly Shabbats. Right? There's a year rest every 7 years. So if you cannot keep this, you are deceiving yourself that you've even kept step 1. Because if you had your own land and your own community, building your own state, your own government, your own governance, you have your own supermarkets, your own farms, you are supplying your own food. At a base, you don't need anyone to tell you when you open and when you close. So then you have not done step 1. You may have heard about it,
Right.
but since you didn't do it, this means you are a rebel. Because when the day you heard it, you were supposed to do it. But you didn't know how. And that's because you were waiting for someone to do it.
Right.
So now I have done it. I got my birthright. I've got the land, and I can buy an unlimited amount with your help. My only limitation is the amount of money I have. So I started with one small piece, not sufficient enough to hold any multitude of the nation, any multitude.
Right.
But in order for it to become the multitude of the nation, I'm going to need you to give.
Yes.
Right? I need you to give, because this is not building some church. A church is another word for circus. This is not building for some church. This is building the nation. And in building the nation, we're not saying put this in here. We're going to come in and sing and dance, and God is going to be happy with that. We're actually going to take the steps to actually be what he said to be, how he said to be, under the law and guidelines and the culture he said to be. And then we're going to grow and multiply into all he said to grow and to multiply to.
Oh, I'm excited.
Once this is done, we can go on to the next step. What's the next step?
And the last, all judgment.
So now that you have the Jubilees and you know what Jubilees year you in, you start knowing your time frame. And I'll give you a jump start. I'll give you a kickstart. It's 5,957, which is 119 Jubilees. And 119 Jubilees and 1 week, 7 years. Okay? So this is the year marker that we're in, right? And you have to complete all judgment. Once you've completed the first 7 years, you will understand the basicness of completing all judgment and be able to grow and walk into it with perfection, right? Walk into it, meaning you're not going to be finished in 7. At 7, you just got to the starting point. You have to finish out a Jubilee in order for it to take effect. So that's what it says, Shabbats and Jubilees. So these things make you lost. You don't have Torah and the Covenant. You don't know, and you have not obeyed. You've forgotten to obey the commandment, which is to obey the Torah and the Covenant. You have forgotten to keep the covenants, plural. So the covenant is with you for you to fulfill the other covenants that were spoken of. Then you can keep the feast and know the months and the Shabbats and know the year, the Jubilee years. These have to be kept so that you can keep all judgments, not some, not this one is past, it was for a different time, it's not in this time period, that you will keep all judgments. So if it says you have oxen, you have oxen. If it says you have sheep, you have sheep. This is the understanding you must come to. Okay? These are the things that I teach. So we have the culture and the law. The law must be within a culture, and that culture must be similar or like unto Abraham's, which you will only find amongst Abraham's children. You see? And Abraham's children get along with, pretty decently, the rest of the house of Shem, which is Syria. Oh, I know, y'all hurt now. You hurt, I hurt somebody's feelings. So the house of Syria, Syria is one of the sons of Shem. This is a land that Shem founded. So now you have to take into account what is the culture of that area. Don't ask me about their religions. Right. That's not what this is about. There is no religion. We have our laws, our culture, and our traditions. If you don't have the culture and traditions, your law has nothing to affect you on. You have put it outside of its place. The culture is attached to a land. That land is sworn to people to keep a specific law. So the culture, the land, and the law all dwell in one area. Right now, you only have one teacher that's going to teach you this in this way so that you can learn it in this process. We're not going to talk about Shabbats or keeping feast days or anything until we first understand the instructions and begin following it. Instruction number 1, we must buy land. We must build good housing. We must buy agriculture and livestock and farm. We. Now I started. You're all new here. I started. And for the first time, I am actually commanded by the Most High to teach you in this way. So now we are discussing this. So if your teacher cannot teach you the Torah and the Covenant, obey the commandments in their proper order, because they have an ordinance. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, right? Help you to keep the covenants, right? All of them. You have to keep the covenant with the land. You have to keep the covenant of your forefathers. You have to atone for the sin of your forefathers, which is rebuild the kingdom, right? As it was, not something new.
Right.
As it was. Then keep the feast days in their proper months, in their proper seasons, in the proper times, and the Shabbats and the Jubilees, which means you got to keep it for 50 and 50 and 50 and
Right.
50 and 50 and 50.
Yes.
You have to count some Jubilees
Yes.
with perfection in all judgment. If your teacher doesn't have that, he's a liar. He has spoken the name of the Most High in error, in doing things that ought not to be done, to gain your wealth, to gain your money, and not restore you to your proper place.
Correct. And your proper place is not in captivity.
Oh, but you don't even know you in captivity.
Yeah.
You just know you're not from the place of origin where they took you from. And
Right.
even now, there's people trying to say, well, we've been here so long, maybe this is the place, and they somehow tricked us, and we think it's not. So, whatever it is, you decide. It is your decision. Okay? Now, we're going to start part 2 of this message. It'll just jump in the edit scenes. And we're going to go back to reading. We're going to pick up now and see what the process of regaining our lands and stuff back will be. We're going to continue with our Torah instruction.
And for those of you that want to know where did we get these 6 points of us being lost, it's in the book of Jubilees, chapter 23.
Yeah, you can check my facts and check my findings.
Because, there are skeptics.
No. Even the skeptics, I don't care. You can be skeptical. You can be skeptical, but be skeptical enough to at least go buy the book and then read it all and then judge it and compare for yourself. Because even after you've read it, you could read everything within a month, even less. If you're just reading, but to compile the information and then to walk it out, because if you haven't walked it out, there's a 7-year process of actually trying to walk it out. If you haven't walked it out, then you just remain lost until you incur the guilt of death. Doesn't mean you die like immediately tomorrow, but you know death coming. And you know they are adamantly trying to kill you.
Yes.
So you have a choice. You can stay and wait for the next pandemic to come on you, or you can give, because you can't just show up and expect it to be here, and you know it needs to be built. We're buying land. There's no houses on it. We have to design the houses and build them from the ground up to be suitable to our needs. Because we have to have stores, we have to have businesses, we need certain equipment, we need certain things. We have to be self-contained. So you can't come and just buy a house over here and just, it's good enough.
No.
You will either be in the community or you will die outside the community. There is no in between.
Yes.
There is no middle ground, none. And this law that is meticulously kept and that has all the little instructions and everything, we keep this one without compromise.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to get back to reading, but that's a footnote because there has to be something that shows the difference. Like there has to be, where is the thread of truth? Right? You're saying these things, but where is the evidence? Well, we know 400 years of captivity has passed. Right? I'm telling you now, at the end of the 400 years, the year is now 5,957. And we have to get our stuff together and be united as a nation over the next 40 some odd years, 40 plus. And we're going to have to build and reunite ourselves little by little and lot by lot. We'll be back at part 2. right. We're back at part 2. Now we're at Exodus chapter 23 and verse 37. My terror will I send before thee. So now the Most High is talking, and this is his promise. Because we are coming in unarmed and we're just doing agriculture, this is how he's going to work this. My terror will I send before thee and will perturb, to make anxious and unsettled all the peoples to whom thou comest. Now I told you they have agreed to allow us into multiple countries.
Yes.
To make this community and to grow and develop it under the school. Now, it says he's going to make them anxious, and they are. Right now, it is better for them to help us because this will bring a famine to the world's enemies, right? Our enemy, the one who has took us as slavery and never restored to us anything and constantly keep us in oppression and constantly suppressing our history and who we are in front of our faces. These people, by removing us, it will create a famine because they are eating you. They are eating your children. They are eating your labor, your work. Anytime you make anything, they eat from it without you gaining anything. They eat off you in life. They eat off you in death. They are consuming you as a people. So now, to cause them a famine, we're going to remove you and let you have your own. Okay? Only follow your law, which we know of, and not anything else, and keep the culture, which we all keep as brothers. All right? Now, our law is tighter than theirs. I'm telling you that now. So don't go to them and ask what the law is, because they're going to have only a certain percentage of it be similar, but theirs is more relaxed. Ours is going to be more strict than theirs. Right? Like the milk and the meat thing. We can't have that. Now, they can have cheeseburgers all day.
Right.
That's why we have to govern our own food and provide for ourselves because we have a stricter diet. And I will perturb them that thou mayest wage battle against them, and I will make all thy enemies turn back before thee. Okay. Now you say, how are we going to fight? You just said we unarmed. Okay, next verse. I got you. I know. And I will send the hornet before thee to drive out the Hibai and the Canaanite and the Hittite from before thee. So when we go, the sign that we're looking for is we're going to be chasing some big bees.
Yes.
The big ones, the big hornets. They got these big ones. They eat meat and boy, they stink. Oh, it's terrible. They real big here. It says, this is going to go in front. So when you see this and it clear out the land, you come in behind the bees. Oh, you know, I know y'all worried now, right? You worried now. We go in, what? Bees? No. To show you that the difference, this never happened for Joshua. Anybody want to go and look it up? Go ahead. You have the entirety of the book of Joshua. Joshua went in armed for war. We don't have that. The Most High is going to do this. Bees will chase them out. We will come and take the land behind them with bees. So what? You don't like it? You don't like it. I can't change the book anyway.
Right.
I will not expel them before thee in 1 year. So the bees will do this little by little, I guess, because it's not happening all in 1 year. They just drive everybody out and you just take everything. Lest the land become a wilderness and the beasts multiply upon thee when they come to eat their carcasses and injure thee. So he doesn't want the wild animals coming to hurt us. So he's not going to drive people out all at one time. Same thing like buying land. You go, you buy a piece of land, you secure some area, and he clear out. It's little by little.
Right.
So the entirety of the process, buying little by little. Well, what happened when the economy dropped out and we don't have money no more? Well, we still got our land and our sheep and our other stuff, and we can still make purchases because we now have a renewable resource.
So let me ask you something.
Yes.
Okay. 28 says, and I will send the hornet. Now, when we're reading about when Israel went into the land, you don't read nothing about hornets being before them. So when this was spoken, it wasn't spoken for that time.
It's spoken to this generation.
But for this generation.
Yes. Wasn't spoken for that time. That's why he cites two different exoduses. The one from Mitzrayim, the west, Egypt, and from the house of bondage, the west again, greater Egypt now. Like, it's the same thing.
Right.
So now he says in verse number 30, by little and little I will drive them out before thee until thou art increased and inherit the land. So you have to be in the first position, having bought the land and having gotten together the first groups and start gathering people, and you have this so that when we go to make a move to take land that has been left by other peoples, you have to be in position to make a very short trip, a very short transfer.
Right. So pretty much it's not this huge gathering all at once, like what's been taught, but it's by little, which will confirm about fleeing and saving yourself.
Right. So you can't even come into the actual state of our land, right, and actually gain and increase and grow without first having this law and covenant. So you have to get unlost, taking the 6 steps and learning those things, right? You have to get unlost to actually enter in. Now, the process that it typically takes at the fastest for most people to gain the basic understanding is about 4 years. Okay? But that's the basic understanding. It takes about 4 years to gain it. Now, at 7 years, you've attained cleanness. At 14 years, you will have attained purification. So now you have to accept the process. It is what it is. After you've read it, you've only read it. You have to complete the markers and then done those festivals that come in their time to understand, oh, you don't know how to keep a Jubilee till Jubilee comes.
Right.
It has been 7 years from the last Jubilee. It's already been a week. We are at now the second week in the first year. In the first year. If you don't know how that time runs out, you need to come in and live it. You need to live it. We have new moon festivals coming up, and we want you guys to know how to keep them. You're not going to know why it's a watch, why we watch for the new moons, and why there's a watch for the Shabbats. They're not automatic. It doesn't happen on a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday. It's not on any of those days. It doesn't even move according to that time frame that you have weekdays. It's only a count. There is no Monday, Tuesday. So the new moon comes in. When it comes in, there's one coming in the next week or so. And so you have to watch. And the moon will disappear for 3 days. I don't care what any digital calendar tells you. You have to get out and look. If you can't get out and look because your government is spraying the skies, you need to be somewhere where they don't spray.
And a new moon doesn't say that it's a new month.
Right. That is correct. And he says, and I will set thy boundary from the Sea of Suf, which is the Arabian Sea now, or the Persian Gulf, all the way to the Sea of the Philistine, which is the Mediterranean Sea, the Sea of Palestine. And from the desert unto the Farat. So the desert is the Negev, all the way to the Euphrates, the river Farat, right? And for I will deliver into your hand all of the inhabitants of the land, and thou shalt drive them out from before thee. Now, when you say all the inhabitants and driving them out, it ain't all the inhabitants. It's all the inhabitants that don't have a right to be here. Do you know there's a difference?
Yes. Yes.
Okay? So the colonizers, you driving out. You're not driving out the people who's supposed to be here. So we're not driving out the sons of Lot. You're not driving out the sons of Ishmael. You're not driving out Saudi.
Right.
Okay? You're not driving them out. They're going to be here. They may be back on their portions as allotted by Scripture, but you're not driving them out. We're driving everybody into their portions. We're pushing, no. Your line here. And that's only at that time. It's not right now. So we're not coming here to make any immediate enemies. There's no war here. We are here first to feed everybody and to show everybody the goodness of our law and the goodness of doing things according to the law given unto us. We start off with good. If they don't accept the good, and after everybody prosper and we're doing great, we discuss other things at other times.
So it's not about coming here trying to convert anyone or making them follow our way. It's not about any of that.
Now, verse 23 and 32, thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their idols. So now you can't marry into their families if their families have idol worship. Okay? You just can't do it. All right? You can't marry into foreign nations. Okay? Becky can't come. Tom and Sue can't come at this time. This is not for them. I'm building my own nation, my own administration. They got all of Europe and all of America and wherever else that white people have colonized that they can go to. This is for development. This is internal development. This is ours right now. Okay? So right now we're dealing with blood, nobody else.
So somebody that may be watching and they are of Judah or any of the other tribes and they're married to a foreigner, a white person.
Divorce them. And if they fight for the children, give them the kids too. If you don't have the heart or the strength to do it, stay where you are, enjoy them. It's your family. It's your life to enjoy. Oh, RABISHEIKH is evil. I'm telling you the same thing Ezra said. So if Ezra righteous, now I'm righteous like Ezra. Peace be upon him. Alhamdulillah. Bless the God. You don't like it? Turn off my YouTube channel and turn a blind eye. Go back to your idol. Go back to sleep.
Yes.
That's it. You know, you want to talk nasty in the comments, go ahead. I don't even read them like that. Okay? I'm dealing with people who are sick and tired of the direction the world is heading in and want to live and want their future generations to live. I'm dealing with the ones who really have a promise. The ones who have been suffering all of the injustice for the sake of peace, who now want justice and are willing to come out from being among the wicked. That's all I'm talking to. It don't matter if you have a little or if you have a lot. For those who want to make recompense, you know you've done wrong, you have this big stash of money somewhere, You know you got it by poisoning your community. Give it here and build a community in righteousness before you die.
Mm-hmm. Plain and simple.
You ate off of the community. You destroyed your own people. You did these things. Do something now that is righteous and true. According to the law of God, we need to buy this land and build these houses for some people to come. Mm-hmm. Send that one nephew, that one cousin that you made sure you kept off of the streets. Send him to come learn. Mm-hmm. Send him for the birthright. He has to receive it. Someone of your family has to take it. Mm-hmm. I got crowns to give out here, and I need the sons to be here to receive it. Mm-hmm. I need daughters to come back, and instead of growing up to be somebody's girlfriend and to end up like a sharmuta in the street. Mm-hmm. A sharmuta is a prostitute, by the way. Mm-hmm. Or a whore, a harlot being passed around from guy to guy, and nobody can commit to marry and take care of this girl. If you need to stop this, if we're going to stop this, it has to start in the community, and we have to close the gates and get ourselves together.
Yes.
By this law.
Yes.
So you can't make no covenants with them, nor their idols, which even in marriage, if I marry you and you're an idol worshiper, then now I've married you and your idol. Now I'm worshiping the idol with you.
Yes.
Thou shalt not let them dwell in thy land. See, now we have a close community so that we don't have to let them dwell on our land.
Yes.
Now our land is not all the land. They have theirs. We have our own community. It's closed. Mm-hmm. Here, we living under this law. Mm. So now you see the instruction very clear. Mm. Not let them dwell in thy land, lest they cause thee to error and sin before me. When thou dost worship their idols, for they will be a stumbling block to you. Mm-hmm. Because the only thing they do is start raising questions. Well, why do they say it's this one when I heard, mm-hmm. I heard Reverend Ski Booty say it's like that. We do it this way. Mm-hmm. Well, it's similar. It seems like he's twisting it. That's why they can't come. Mm-hmm. They make you weak, and then you start getting confused and crazy to go figure out what somebody else says. And I'm sitting here with the law and the instructions, and we're starting to prosper. So they're not allowed in now from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Just like Ezra said, put them out, put them out. Oh, he's against interracial marriages. I'm not against interracial nothing. Mm-hmm. I'm against the sons of Israel marrying outside of their father's houses. It is our law. Mm-hmm. Period.
Right. And we're able to marry within the house of Shem.
Yeah, we can marry within the house of Shem. We can.
We can. But right? We really need to do it within our own.
We have to really focus now within our own, within the house of Abraham. Mm. So I could go and marry an Ishmaelite daughter. Mm-hmm. She keeps my customs, my traditions. We have the same God.
Yes.
Okay? But before I even make this step, I need to get me together.
Yes.
I need the customs and traditions, and I need to perfect the law of my God, to be a walking Torah. Mm-hmm. This my life. Mm-hmm.
And if you
then she have to agree to be with me.
Right. And do the same.
And do the same in my way. Help me keep in my way.
So she needs to be learning it as well.
Now, if you don't want the stumbling block, now we come into chapter 24. We're going to have a conversation now with Israfil, Michael, the Prince of Wisdom. Mm. Mm. Oh, yeah, if you didn't know that Israfil is Michael's name, that's why he named Jacob after him after Jacob wrestled with the angel. So he named him after himself. So we have Israfeel, and he named Jacob Israel. You want to know what Israfeel is? I'll tell you. Is righteous and upright in Allah. Israfeel. Feel means in Allah. Righteous and upright in Allah. Okay? And Israel, right, is righteous and upright of Allah. And now Israfeel is the angel assigned to me. What? Yeah, it's assigned to the prince.
Yes.
And it mandates that the law be carried out, and you must incline your soul unto it. But that's not to you, that's to me.
Right.
Because maybe you don't want to.
But son of Adam, it was spoken.
Listen, it's spoken, but it's not talking to everybody.
Right.
You want to know how the word encrypted? It's encrypted like this. The one whom the Most High is speaking to will hear and do. So now you want to know who's Israel? Let's see who hear and do. We should see more than what we requested in the donation.
Yes.
That this video should go absolutely viral. It should go to every place, to every teacher of every school, so you can see if they reject it, that they are not of the Most High.
And may I say this? No, he did not tell me that he was the prince and king. Through the law of me reading it for myself, I witnessed the evidence that he is. He never told me, I am the prince. I am the one to lead. No, the evidence of everything he have done line upon line, according to this law, I am the one that said to him, after me witnessing this and seeing what I have seen, I believe that you are the one, the prince, the king. So I want to make sure we make that clear.
So it's not a claim then?
No.
It's not somebody just saying, I'm the house of David, everybody should listen to me and things will get better?
No.
You mean to tell me it require all the time and all the work and the sufferings and the silence and the obedience to all kinds of instructions and to go through harsh paths and to have things turn and twist and to accept the process just to have a checklist, right? There's a checklist.
There's a checklist.
And you got to check off the boxes and things have to be achieved, right?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
And on time.
And on time.
According to the times and the dates and the calendars of the years, of the months and everything, right?
Yes.
And we're on time.
We're on time.
Okay, I'm not late.
No, you're not late.
I thought I was late that one time. I was trying to, but I had to get the time straight.
Yes.
There was a little bit of confusion there.
Yes, a little small detour.
Right. So now Israfeel, Michael, the Prince of Wisdom, says to Moses, to Musa, to Moshe, on the 7th day of the month, come up before Yeah, thou and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and the 70 elders of Israel, and worship at a distance.
At a distance.
No. This now the instruction. So now the same way he said to Musa, Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Musa means deeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Musa means deeds. Okay? If you don't know Musa means deeds, then you don't know what Musa means in our dialect.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It says, and Musa performed mighty acts, mighty deeds. Musa. He did deeds, great ones. This where it come from, why we kept him named Moses or Musa. And not just because it was Pharaoh's daughter.
Because he had many names.
No, we get there. We get
Okay.
there. One step.
One step.
So now Moses, he says, come up on the 7th day of the month. Now there is a 7th day of every month. You guys have no idea which month is we talking about. But that's okay. It doesn't matter at this time. What matters is that he's saying he has to bring together Aaron, who is to be acting as the high priest, and his 2 sons, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 elders, and worship at a distance. So worship is to create the lifestyle. So the first thing is bring up the administration. The high council of the 70.
I just noticed something because something we read last night in Ezekiel where it says Yasharal and then it said Jacob. Now the 70, those were the 70 nations that came out of
No, this
Israel, or
is
just 70,
70 elders of Israel. So now you have to set up your administration. So the same way it says, don't let them dwell in thy land, and you have to buy and purchase land to redeem yourself and your people. You have to set up the high council of the 70. This 70 elders makes up and consists of the great Sanhedrin. So you have to formulate it. And these men must be of the highest caliber of lawfulness, of great understanding and patience. They must be loyal to the one who is sitting in Musa's chair. Because Musa was king in this time. He was the appointed prince and ruler to lead you out of the bondage. Again, hi, I'm glad to meet you. This is what we are doing.
Yes.
This is your law. This is your instruction. This is your covenant. So now it says you're going to set up, and it tells you you're going to be at a distance. You're not exactly in the land yet. You coming into the place, you need to get ready. And it says, and Moses alone shall approach before Yah, but they shall not draw nigh, nor may the people come up with him. So now the Most High is setting it up and letting you know the precedence of the order. Okay,
Right.
I'm dealing with this one, this my anointed, this my appointed one, and he's going to lead by going first.
Right.
So before we go into the land, I have to go into the land first and make sure it's prepared for what we need to do. And I already
done that.
I already did it.
You've already accomplished that.
So now I'm setting up the second staging area at a distance so that the people who go in with the same understanding. Because you can't go in to the land and into the presence of the Most High dirty. You must be purified. It takes 14 years to achieve purification. Okay, it takes 13 years to achieve purification. We're back with part 3, and it says, and Moshe shall approach before Yah alone, but they shall not draw close, nor may the people come up with him. Moses came and set before the people all the words and all the judgments. Step 1. And all the people answered with one voice and said, all that Yah has spoken, we will do.
So we made an agreement, a covenant with him.
So now I am waiting for the response. And this is the end of today's class, class 11. And I want to know, what will you do? Will you make this video popular? Will you push this school so that we can rebuild the 70? Will you build the community and begin the farming and the raising of the sheep and the crops and everything else? Will you? Or will you make void the words of Allah, the words of God, the words of the covenant, because it is you who are forsaken the covenant, not him. You're the one not showing up to do the work because your leaders lied to you. They refuse to tell you the truth, and they themselves are greedy, seeking to take the money which is needed for your redemption and use it for selfish gain. And you profit nothing from it. So, today you have a decision. You have a choice. Because from this point on, it will only be worse. Because as I make the words of this covenant known to you, the Most High does nothing but trouble the enemies. And you incur more guilt. You become more and more guilty of being rebellious.
And we read about what happened to the rebellious.
They die. Because rebellion is witchcraft. So if you choose not to hear what I'm saying, you're not debating me. You're just rejecting the word of God, and now you've become a witch. And witches die. So die.
Yeah.
That's it. What you want. There's nothing I can do. You know, you have to elect to choose to accept this. I'm ordering the judgments in front of you. I'm ordering you to obey the judgment. I am ordering you to obey it. Now, if you don't complain about what you get. I don't care how many of you get put on a t-shirt because you chose that for yourself. I don't want anyone on a t-shirt, so choose to put your money here. Choose to build this. Choose it. If you do not choose this, the only thing outside of this is death. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. It is imminent. Like immediately getting ready to pour out like, oh my, you have no idea. If you want to escape, here is the way. If not, well, it is what it is.
Is it okay if I give the scripture?
Go
that
ahead.
They can read for themselves to see what we're saying is true?
You still have to get the book.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. I know I gave the book out free for 7 years. I've been, every time with the advancements and every time I got the money together until I finally was able to get the full collection. I got the books. I toiled for 7 years to get all of them. Some may have it. But if you don't, go to the link tree in our link below and buy both the law and the prophets, the whole book. You need both books.
Yes.
If you don't get this, I know. I put the law up there. I think it's like $5.
Yeah, $5.
And the book of the prophets, all the prophets, is $50. Even though it's 22 books. There's 22 volumes. It's all $50. All direct translated from antiquity. If you don't get it, don't try to read this on your own in any other version. Don't try it. Those books have been proven and tested to be false. They have done nothing for you. And they will continue to do nothing for you. So, tell them where to read it.
Read from the prophet Ezekiel, chapter 1, I think it's about chapter 4, chapter 5. Everything that is being said at this point, especially in chapter 3 about the rebellious and the fate of the rebellious. It's death. I read it for myself. So that's where you'll find it. Out of the Jonathan ben Uziel is where you're going to find it, because your other translations are not going to have it in there. They've hid that from you. They've taken it away.
And so you can go ahead, you can purchase, the one that we have online, and you can get the Kindle app. I use the Kindle app. I've showed you time and time again. It makes searching really easy. And even if they was to scratch the Kindle app, if you get it from us online, our PDF is unaltered. So while it was verified to be accurate word for word, both of them, then you can now, if they change this one, fine, we just printed it out.
Yes.
We just print out the book. We have it in PDF, unaltered. We can just print it. Okay? So that's our time for today. Thank you all for attending. Please, for those of you who pursue righteousness, who want to live the life of Abraham and Sarah as commanded by the prophet Isaiah to fulfill this covenant, please donate in the link tree below. Make your donation and prepare to come out. Get your passports. You'll need your passports, and you will also need to contact us, and we will tell you the process of filing to get your 5-year visa. Okay? You need to have this information because we have to have everything prepared before you go to the airport.
Yes.
You'll need to get your Jordan Gateway. The Jordan Gateway permits you to fly to Jordan, right? Otherwise, you part of Western civilization. It'll become an issue.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So you need to come out and come in. Come out of where you are and come into here. And you have to invest here so that it's available for you when you get here.
Yes.
Right? We have limited spacing right now for a bunch of people, and I'm not going to waste my time doing the scattered sites and having to pick people up from all around this area. We're going from here and we're going into our land, and we're going to do it by the spring. Okay? So that springtime, when we come into atonement, we have this to show that we are making atonement. We have at least the first portion of land and maybe even the first building built.
Yes.
Right? To where we can all move in, live, develop and grow. So we need that done for the first building to be built. To build the building and buy the land, complete with everything, is about $1 million. So now you see why I said 12 million.
Yes.
So that I can have at least for the first groups of people, stores, shops, families, because, we're going to get women and we're going to get children, and there's some seniors that are coming out.
Yes.
So now there's a lot we have to consider. I have to prepare for a lot of people. But I at least want to have the first 12 buildings, right, named after the first forefathers. So the first 12 buildings be in place, okay? So this is our dream. This is our goal. We have to have a spot for the widows and the orphans, and there's a lot going into this. We need funding now, okay? We need you to turn money. We need to turn our money into a renewable resource before the economy collapses.
Right.
Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, they are destroying the American dollar. It is about to lose all value. If we don't invest in our own community, you're going to end up throwing your money in the streets, worthless.
Yes. Yes.
It won't be worth anything. And then you'll have to trade and barter to find your way out of the country to get anywhere.
Right.
By that time, we need to be generating food, growing livestock, because this will have true intrinsic value. And that value will translate across borders and across boundaries. We'll be able to grow increasingly, having our system established and in place by our law of instruction.
Yes.
Hear the house of instruction now, that if any man come to learn, it will make him wise. All you have to do is heed the instructions and obey the commands. 2 things. That is all we ask him. Obey. Give now out of your limited wealth to make this work. For you, for your sake. That's it.
Yes.
If you want to, jump the mental hurdles and try to combat or debunk what I'm saying, go ahead. The books are available. Get them. And you argue with it.
Exactly.
You ain't got to argue with me. Go ahead, get the books and say that what I'm saying is not in my book. You can compare your book to my book and say my book is false because your book is what you believe. However, you're the one without a possession. You're the